You know how sometimes, like, I've been in sales for quite a while. If a guy who doesn't have any responsibilities and he's single, he has a $30,000 a month, boom, he's going to Vegas, having a good time, and then he doesn't work as hard until he runs out of his 30,000. 3 months later, I got to go make the 30,000 again. Oh my God, panic! I got to pay my bills. I'm behind on the phone. Let me buy this watch and make 40 grand. I'm going out again. So it's very inconsistent, right? And then as you're in sales longer, you're like, okay, the profile of somebody that's going to be more consistent is not a single guy. It's a guy that's married, kids, homeowner, and all those three are signs of what? Married, commitment. Homeowner, commitment, responsibility. Kids, commitment, responsibility. Last time we didn't talk about your kids. At this point, I think it's public video, your daughter running to me, give daddy a kiss, all this stuff. Everybody knows at this point. When you're in jail, sometimes I sit there and I got books on my desk. I'm like 50 books behind, and I like to read. I know you don't talk about reading a lot, but I like to. I'm 50 books behind. But I bet if you're in a place where you're in jail, you're forced to think. You're forced to, Andrew, you don't have the phone, you don't have the computer, there is no emergency podcast. Go away and think. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, family, kids, what it's really all about. Those decisions, when you think about your kids, does it influence you to say, oh, what are you doing this? Why are you going through all this stuff? Maybe you got to make some changes in your lifestyle. And if yes, in what areas? Or does it say, no, double down even more because I'm fighting for them?
And that's a really interesting question. I'll start by saying how thoughts in jail are different than thoughts in the outside world, because this is actually an observation I had. In the outside world, I don't think you carry a thought for very long that you don't want to carry. You can sit and think about something if you want to, but if you don't want to think about something, you just get your phone out. Something pops in your head, oh, I don't do it. You get your phone out and distract yourself. Or you get on your laptop, or you call someone, or you do something, right? It's not very often in the real world. It's not very often in the real world you have a thought you don't want in your head, and you have nothing to take it away. You have no phone, you have no outside interaction, you have nowhere to go.
What a perspective.
Nothing. You're just stuck with it. You're stuck with that thought. So there were times in jail where, for the first time, like I have a lot of mental control, but there was the first time ever I'm battling with my own mind saying, I don't want to think about this. And I'd put another thought in the way. It was on the door. It was knocking on the door all the time. And this is for weeks. Because every day is the same. You never get the outside interaction. And you also, what made it worse is, you never get the answer. Like the open loop. If you ever say to somebody, I'm going to tell you something, I'll tell you later. And it bothers them. That's what jail's like, because you might think of something. It doesn't matter what it is. I won't say what my thought was, but I'll give you an example. Let's say I thought, when did Constantinople fall? What year? I can't just Google it. I don't know. So it's stuck in your head, right? So if you have this negative thought, you don't know the answer. Normally in life, when you want to know something, you find out. But in jail, you don't. So you're like, I don't know. You got this in your head and you're like, I can't get this out of my head. So when you have a negative thought, especially if there's an open loop to it, you need to know something or you want to know something. You can't get it out of your mind. I would sit there for hours just meditating, trying to just keep the door closed on negative thoughts. It's really difficult. It's a really strange experience. And maybe in normal jail in Western countries where you get to go and interact with people, you can distract yourself. But I was stuck in a room for 93 days in one room. I did not leave. That was where I was. I was allowed to go to the fridge once a day, which is a 3-meter walk and back. That is it in my room.
You and Tristan are in the same room or no?
At the beginning we weren't, but then we ended up in the same room.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, the thoughts in jail are very pervasive. And it's also a long time, maybe never, in the outside world where I had a thought in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You just satisfy the problem. You fix the issue in the real world. In jail, you can't do that. So family and kids, and those are the positive things that you do think about. But it's difficult because I think of children, I think of legacy. And then if you're going to think of your legacy via your children, you have to think of your legacy via your actions. And then you have to sit and by extension go, well, truly, truly on my deathbed, truly, will I be happier if I gave up or if I continued to tell the truth? I'm scared of the regret of thinking, you know what, I was the most famous man in the world and every man on earth was listening to me and I was really making a difference, but I got scared. I don't think I can live with that. I don't think I can live as a coward. I'd feel like a pussy. I just feel like a wimp. And sometimes inside of men, that's all it takes for us to do the most stupid things there is. The idea of feeling like a coward. A man will run into a burning building to not be a coward. If the firefighter, they go, there's children in there. And the whole building's on fire. It's like, well, I can't be a coward. Oh, fuck it. And you'll risk your life. It's something that's built inside of us, honor and pride. It's something that should be. It's what they're trying to take away from us. But it's what used to be built inside of men. And I just feel like I can't give up. I know what I'm doing is good. I know what I'm teaching is good. I know that people don't like it, but I know I'm not teaching anything that's bad. And yeah, I want my children to be happy, but I have daughters too. And how do you make sure that your daughters are secure and have a good future? Well, I think you do that by building good men. How else do you do it? My daughter is mine now, but she won't be mine forever. She's going to marry somebody. I like the idea of her marrying a good man with honor and principle, a man like me. I don't want to marry some idiot. So they call me a misogynist and I'm anti-woman. I'm pro-woman. The best way you can improve the lives of women is make men, better at being men. Because when a man is a good man, he's good for all of society, including women. He's good for everyone around him when he's good at being a man. So I feel like I'm helping them as well by extension. And it's difficult. And yeah, I can't say with honesty that I strongly considered giving up. It never crossed my mind. It was there for a second, do I need to do this? And after like half a second, it was like, yeah, I do. I don't know why. I can't. It doesn't make logical sense.
So kids didn't influence it one way or another?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Kids made you want to do it more?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Got it.
I look up to my father as a hero, and I would hate for my sons to look up at me and not see me as a hero. Because that's how I believe you should see your dad, as a hero. And I feel like and you're not a hero without an enemy, and you're not a hero without a fight.
Did they ever try to, and by the way, I don't see this working effectively at all, but did they at all try to come in between you and Tristan, or you and the two girls, or the two of you and them? Was there any manipulation and divisiveness going on there?
What about these stories that came out that you've got cancer and lung cancer, and then you were poisoned, and these matrix attacks?
Yeah, so
are you planting these stories? No, are they making these things up?
No, so the cancer thing is interesting, because by Romanian law, every 30 days to extend the arrest, there has to be new information. They can't extend the arrest based on the previous information. So they put together all this garbage case and arrested me for 30 days. To keep me another 30 days, they have to find something during that 30-day arrest period to keep me for the second month. But of course, there's nothing to find. So when I was having medical scans in Dubai, a dark spot was identified on my lung. And I had follow-up tests booked for February. So after the first 30 days, I called up my PA and she said, are you coming to Dubai? I said, well, yeah, if they let me go at the end of these 30 days, I'll come to Dubai for my medical tests. They took that conversation and shown it and used it in court, saying I'm trying to flee the country and trying to escape the judicial system as motivation for the second month's arrest. And the judge agreed and locked me in jail because I said that I would go to a medical appointment if I was free. And they used that as proof I'm trying to run, because they had nothing else, and the judge agreed it for some reason and kept me in jail. Then everything in Romania leaks. So it leaked that I had this medical thing in Dubai, I had a problem with my lungs, and then there's a hospital here, and I decided to go to the hospital here and have it looked at, because although I was not concerned, I thought, you know what, although it's difficult to do procedures in jail, I have time for once in my life. So I decided to go to the hospital here in Romania, and Romania does have some private healthcare, which is actually very high quality. It's not as poor as people think it is. And I went to a private hospital, and I knew it wasn't cancer. I knew it wasn't. I sat down with the doctor and said, we're really concerned about this dark spot in your lung. I said, it's not cancer. He said, how do you know? I said, that's just not my life path. It's not my story.
You told him that?
Yeah. The doctor was like, okay, but we have to investigate. I said, we can investigate, but it's just not my story. It's not cancer. I had 0%.
When BBC came, did you have guys like watching every move they were making? You had to almost feel like one-on-one, right? Somebody's watching everything they're doing.
Everything.
You have to do it, right? You can't be, you have to be overly paranoid and skeptical with these
guys. If they
guys.
want to hear about, Ricky Tang's crime lord, if they want to hear more about the crime syndicate in Hong Kong, I can tell them all about it, because Carter and Lee is going to get it under control. I mean, this is the thing. This is actually a really interesting point, which I'll go into before I finish the lung story. So I went to the doctors here. In Romania, everything leaks. It leaked out to the press. I had this mark on my lungs. I was supposed to go to Dubai. They denied me going to Dubai. They said that's enough reason to hold me and keep me in jail, which is absolutely insane, all because I had a phone call about a medical procedure. It's crazy. But they were always going to keep me anyway and find some reason. I went there. I had a bronchioscopy. Have you ever had one of them? Bro. I wouldn't call it painful, but it's certainly horrible. So they put a camera in your lung. So it's down your throat, but it's in your lung. It's not down your throat, it's into the airway. So you're trying to vomit and you're trying to cough, And you can barely do either, and they're moving this camera around inside. It's extremely unpleasant. Even
It sucks. I had it 3 years ago in Dallas for the whole allergy thing.
Did you have a bronchioscopy?
Yeah, they have to knock you out. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You've had the
Yeah,
same procedure.
absolutely.
Were you awake or asleep?
No, they gave me anesthesia, so I was asleep.
Oh, bro, here.
What were you?
I was awake,
Yeah.
wide awake.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wide awake.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah. It was. They gave me this. They tried to numb your throat a bit, and then they gave it to me. And the doctors all around me. It's kind of interesting because when something is in your mouth and you're choking, you want to grab it, right? So you're on a chair and you're like tied to the chair, so you can't move your hands. So you're like tied to the chair and you're like this, and they put this thing down your throat, this camera, and you're trying to vomit and you're trying to cough, but they can't move the camera when you're coughing. So even the guard, the armed guard who took me, the police officer, the guy, he was in the corner of the room, and even he was, I could see on his face, he was like, fucking hell. And I don't even want to reenact it because it's probably so horrible to look at, but you're just, like you're trying to vomit, you're trying to cough, you're like, your face is bright red, you can't breathe, and they're like, stop coughing, stop coughing, stop coughing, and you have to try and stop coughing for like 2 seconds so they can adjust the camera a bit. It's the worst 20 minutes of my life, it was horrible. They finish that and they go, okay, well the good news is there's precisely 0 smoking damage on your lungs, and your lungs are perfect, but the lesion, whatever it is on the outside of your lungs, it's not on the inside of your lungs. We couldn't see anything. So I completed that procedure, went back to jail, that was a nice evening. Horrible. Anyone who has a bronchioscopy, yeah, go to sleep, don't stay awake. Horrible. Then they said we have to find it, we have to get a biopsy from the outside of your lungs. So we have to put a needle through your back, a needle like this long, through your back, through your rib cage, to your lung, a CT guided biopsy it's called, and take a piece of it and then pull the needle back out and then do a biopsy on the piece. Now, they're like, this is an operation, do you want to have it while you're in jail? Because the bronchioscopy wasn't much to recover from. I had a really sore throat, whatever. But this is an operation, do you want to have it while you're in jail? And I was like, well, why not? I'm in jail, I have time. I can't recover, but I have time. So I went for my CT guided biopsy. They put you on your front, they show you the needle, it's like this long, and then they stick it in you, and then they scan you with the biopsy, and they try and see where the mark is, and they adjust the needle, and they scan it. It's like 30 minutes of them shoving this needle in you, trying to get to the right point. And eventually they did the biopsy, and they said, yeah, it's benign, some lesion I might have had from when I had pneumonia when I was a kid or something. It's benign. And that's what I told you. I knew that cancer wasn't my life path. I knew it wasn't. But obviously rumors spread like wildfire.
Wildfire. Everybody in the States.
Especially because I smoke all the time.
Right.
But it was actually very refreshing to hear I have 0 smoking damage on my lungs. 0. I was like, there's 0? I mean, I'll accept a little bit. I'll take a little bit. But I think it's because I train every single day. I work out every single day. I train hard every single day. And I think, you burn it off. A couple cigars here and there are not a big deal. It's not cigarettes. I think cigars are better than cigarettes. I also believe nicotine is a super drug, so I'm not going to stop. I think nicotine and caffeine.
A super drug?
100%.
What does that mean?
Nicotine and caffeine are what I run on. 100, that's all I run on. Coffee's for closers, bro. Tell him. 10
I'm the only one that drinks coffee between the two of us.
Oh, really?
By the way, you know who talked about nicotine? Tucker Carlson talked about nicotine, right? Have you seen that when he talks about nicotine, where he starts his day off with nicotine?
Fire, 100%. Fire blood. I have about 10 to 15 cups of coffee a day and 2 or 3 cigars a day, and I only eat once a day. And it's funny because people look at
10 to 15
cups of coffee a day minimum.
Wow. But you don't do drugs.
0 drugs.
You'll have a sip of alcohol every once in a while.
I used to. I haven't had alcohol in 9 months. I've quit.
But you're running on caffeine
and nicotine.
It's
It's funny because people look at my physique when I put pictures up and they're like, what's your meal plan? I'm like, bro, cigars, coffee.
Coffee and cigars.
Coffee and cigars. I eat once a day. What
time?
I eat dinner only.
That's it?
Only eat dinner and 18.
So you do intermittent fasting for
every
18 hours? What?
Yeah. And 80 to 90% of my calories are meat. That's it. I'll just have like 3 steaks for dinner.
Now, how much of that is genetics? How much is that like?
I'm not sure if it's genetics, but that's just how I feel best. I feel best when, if I smoke and drink coffee all the time, I feel hungry, which motivates me, and I feel energetic. It's energetic hungry. That's how I like to feel when I'm working. I want to be hungry. If I eat, I'm tired. Life's too good if I eat. I'm in my mansion, I've just eaten. She's beautiful, I'm going to bed. No, but if I don't, yeah, but if I don't eat, I'm like, maybe I wouldn't say angry, but I like to have that tinge of irritableness. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe I sound crazy. It's how I get things done. It's how I get life done. It's just how
12 cups of coffee a day, 3 cigars, and you eat once a day.
That's right, yeah.
And you train every day.
I train every day, yeah.
And it's working.
Well,
working for you.
It's how I feel best.
I don't know if you wrote a book on Tate's diet, if that book would do well.
Well, this is interesting because I had a blood test when I was in hospital for all these things, and my testosterone level, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on male hormones because I'm not. I don't understand them. I don't know what measurement it's in, but it was between 9 and 27 is the testosterone level, the mark. It can be between 9 and 27, the normal range. I've never taken a steroid in my life. I don't inject anything. I don't take any pills, nothing. And I was 32. I was above the normal scale, and I'm 36 years old. It's supposed to be going down. So whatever I'm doing, I'm sticking to.
What was your diet and your regimen while in jail? There was no coffee?
I had coffee and cigarettes. Don't worry, bro. I had those.
Really?
I spent my commissary money on coffee and cigarettes. I had coffee and cigarettes and 1 meal a day, same.
So there was commissary money?
Yeah, so we had...
Who gave you that?
Yeah, so a friend of mine put money on my account. So I was a rich guy in jail, because in Romanian jail, most people haven't got money, right? I was rich. I was rich. There's a limit to how much you can buy, but I was spending the maximum. So I had plenty of cigarettes, coffee. I actually quit coffee. Now we're talking about coffee, and then I want to go back to the point you made earlier, but I quit coffee for the first 30 days in jail, because I've never not been caffeinated. My experience of life is caffeinated. I'm caffeinated human, right? If I'm awake, it's caffeine. So I'm like, I don't need energy now. I'm in jail. So I quit caffeine and all coffee for 30 days to see if there's any tangible benefits, and I can confirm to the world that there are none. Zero. I did not sleep any better. I did not go to sleep any easier. I did not dream anymore. Nothing, absolutely nothing good happened, except I was tired all day. It was garbage. I was like, give me my coffee back. I went back to my 15 cups of coffee a day.
Reaffirmed your
wild
coffee.
to have that much coffee. The last time I drank coffee, I was 25.
We have one friend.
Literally.
We have one friend that drinks almost as much
Mario
coffee.
drinks
Mario.
as much as
Shout
you.
out to
And by the way,
Mario.
everybody around me loves coffee, including my 11-year-old son, Tico.
Yeah.
Him and his mom got into an argument the other day because she didn't want to take him to Starbucks. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, I want some coffee. He's like, you're not having coffee at 11 years old. Anyways, but it's working for you. It's working for your body.
Correct.
Sometimes when you find a diet or a combination that hits your body well, you'll know it, you'll feel it. And you have to know your body the best.
Correct. I think there's no perfect diet for everybody.
I agree.
Everyone's slightly different.
I agree.
And that's just, and I think you are what you eat to a degree, and it also depends the mental model you want to operate under. If I wanted to operate under comfort, I certainly wouldn't eat the way I eat. I do it because I particularly want to operate under a degree of irritability and high energy and hunger. I like feeling hungry. I don't like feeling full. I like being hungry all the time.
I love that. I mean, that's the quality of people where, you know, you can tell a lot from somebody how big they think after they make money and they have some success.
Yeah.
When they make money, that's when they slow down. That's when they get casual. The hunger goes away.
Yeah.
You'll really know if somebody's hungry when they made money and they're still going. What is this guy doing still going?
Yeah.
You've already made the money. You've already had the success.
Yeah.
Let's transition to a couple other stories here.
Sure.
So all of a sudden you put in your profile, obviously I joked about it, you're the most Googled women on earth, you know, that was based on your Twitter profile. You know, Nina Turner comes out and says, if somebody says they're a woman, not a tough concept. Your response is, I'm a woman, right? You do that. And you've left it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Because I am. You don't believe me?
You're a woman?
Are you misgendering me?
I have to choose to agree with you, right?
My pronouns are she, her. No, but the level of, it's all a joke, right? But there's actually a very sinister undertone to all of this garbage. And the sinister undertone is that your baseline instincts and your baseline senses are how you've always perceived the world, right? They have to attack them at some level. And they did. I mean, it's fantastic with COVID. COVID, I know we can talk about it now, it was amazing. I used to say to people all the time, who have you seen die? Do you see a pandemic? Yeah, on the news. No. Do you see ambulances rushing back and forth everywhere? Do you see bodies on the street? Do you see lines outside of hospitals? Do you see a pandemic? How a pandemic would look? Do you see a pandemic? Oh, but my grandma, my friend's grandma, your friend's grandma was 96. Okay? So I'm not saying it's not sad. I'm saying she was 96. Do you see a pandemic? No, you don't. But they have just lied to you so many times that you're ignoring your own eyes. That's the final stage of the slave mind. It's the final stage of it. The final stage of the slave mind is when your eyes tell you this is green, but the news told you it was blue. So it has to be blue. So when they're doing these things, it's nothing to do with caring about the mental health, of gender ideology, none of this garbage. They're deliberately attacking you and saying, what your eyes tell you is wrong. Because if they can make you start to admit that your own eyes are wrong, then what other defense do you have against propaganda? If they're going to give you a lie, but your own eyes can't protect you, well then it's over, isn't it? So all of these things they're doing, all of these things are a deliberate assault on the senses. And they do it by controlling the language. If you control what someone says, over time, you'll control what they think. You don't think what you don't say. It's very hard to live a life for 80 years, if you're lucky, and think things and never say them ever. If you think it, you're going to say it sometimes. You're going to give the idea, get some feedback on the idea, build on the idea, change the idea, whatever it is, through discussion. If you never, ever, ever discuss it, you're not going to think it. So they say, this is the truth, ignore your eyes, and you have to say it's the truth. You can't say it's not the truth. And the people who are in charge of the world, they think generationally. They have time. Right now it's a joke. 200 years from now it won't be a joke. 200 years from now it'll all be fucking standard operating protocol. The grandchildren of the people who are in charge now, that's what they want. They'll pull it off in the end. Slow, incremental damage. They do it with nearly everything. They'll take all your rights away. They'll take 100 of your rights away. They'll upset you. They'll give you 99 back. We're good again. Don't worry. And the grandchildren of the people in charge of the world get what they want in the end. They think generationally. So now we're at the beginning of it. It's all a big joke, right? But especially before Elon had Twitter, when you couldn't say the truth online, when you couldn't say my eyes see X on the internet without going to jail or losing your account, or getting a hate speech charge in the UK or some garbage, they're controlling what you think. And on a long enough time frame, what you think becomes true. We all believe 2 + 2 is 4. But with a hard enough psyop, if you can't say that, if you have to say it's 5, on a long enough time frame, math breaks down and everyone's just going to believe that 2 + 2 = 5. That's what happens.
You think we're going to get there?
Have you ever seen the experiment? There's a really interesting experiment with monkeys and a banana and a water spout. Have you ever seen this? They put 5 monkeys in a room. And at the top of the room there was a banana. And when one monkey tried to climb up to get the banana, they turn on the hose and splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. So the monkey would come back down and wouldn't get the banana. And when another monkey would go to climb up, they'd splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. And what would happen over time is, when a monkey went to climb the rope to get the banana, the other monkeys would jump and pull him down and hit him and teach him a lesson. Don't go for that banana. If you go for that banana, we get splashed with water. Then they'd swap one of the monkeys out. Now there's a new monkey in the room who doesn't know the game. The new monkey would attempt to climb, and all 4 monkeys would attack the monkey, pull him back down, and kick his ass. He knows if he climbs the rope to get the banana, he gets attacked. He doesn't know he gets splashed with water if he gets the banana. He doesn't know the game, but he knows if I try and climb, they're going to attack me. After a certain amount of weeks, they change another monkey, and another monkey, and another monkey. Over time, you have 5 brand new monkeys who have never been splashed with water ever. But nobody goes to climb the rope, because if they do, they're attacked by all the other monkeys. And nobody even knows why.
Damn.
That's just how it works. If you climb that rope, we beat you up. That's just how it works. That's what they're doing on a long enough time scale to humanity. There are already X amount of people on the planet. There's already a population, X%, who knows what it is, who ignore their own eyes and repeat what they are told. You can't say that that's not what they're doing, because they're already successful with X amount of the population. They've begun. The seed is there. 2%, 3%, 7%, who knows? They've already proven they can do it. Now it's just a matter of not shutting up and hammering at home. Make sure they repeat it in schools. Children are young. They believe things. They're impressionable. Hammer it to the kids, especially. Put it in every Disney movie. Give it to the kids all day long. They grow up sooner or later. Long enough time frame, that's it. It's generational attacks.